So, Shahzad, talking about you, during the Hazratpur siege incident, there was an accident where you were hit by an army vehicle. It was being said that it was a deliberate attack. Would you like to elaborate on the entire incident?
I have written about this also in my book, My Kashmir. I have written, in fact, in detail on this and been published in international journals on the issue. The question of I do realize a lot of people have told me that this was a deliberate act, and people claim to know that it was a conspiracy, and that the target was not necessarily me, but the target was General Zaki, who was the advisor to the governor, and in whose car I was actually traveling when the truck rammed into me. But you see, it doesn't matter at all, and I believe in what Guru Gobind Singh wrote in his letter to the then Emperor of India, the Emperor Aurangzeb. He said that even it's in Farsi, and I can't give you the exact translation. He said that even if the whole world intends to destroy you, they cannot harm a hair on your head unless God wills it so. And this is one of the verses in the Zafarnama of Guru Gobind Singh, and I am a believer. It's a highly Islamic concept also, but it's not because it's a highly Islamic concept. I believe in that concept. If my time had come, it would have come. If my time had not come, it didn't matter with everyone is conspiring to do anything.
It's quite an optimistic way of looking at things.
Well,
right?
that is life.
Yeah, and that Kuran Poshpura incident, you had turned in a report, and it has been mentioned that that report was either manipulated or some parts of it were deleted before making the information public. Is there any truth to that?
Well, when it was made public in the initial stage, I had called for the report is now in the public domain. So I had, as you will notice, the last paragraph, I had recommended that it requires further investigation. Although I might also say that even in the report, I had not given credibility to the idea of a mass rape of the type that had been reported by Muhammad Yasin, who was the then Deputy Commissioner of Anantnag. I'm sorry, Kupwara. But I had said that why was there this complaint? Because otherwise, the experience of the army with the people of Kunan and Poshpura, the two villages, Kunan and Poshpura, had been very salutary. So why had they taken this? Had they been compelled by the militants to make that report because saying that you've been cooperating with the army, now you make this report? But had there actually been a rape of somebody and the other women had all wanted to stand with the persons who had been raped so that they would not be identified and therefore they would not be put to shame? What was the reason? It needed to be investigated, and the biggest reason for investigation was that the people needed to be satisfied themselves. The people of the valley needed to be satisfied, and the people of Kunan Poshpura needed to be satisfied. Because the men had been taken out of the village at that time when the police were cordoning it. And this is in my report, that no such thing had actually happened. But no such investigation ever took place. And when the report was first published, Governor Saxena was governor, then this portion, the last paragraph, was left out. And in response, there was an attack on me at the Jame Masjid. Unfortunately, the DSP who was accompanying me, we'd gone to see about the arrangements for the incoming Bakrid, and he lost his life. And I was of course not injured at all, but the governor then felt that I was under threat because I had made that report. But at that time, I believed, and I still believe, that in fact no such incident of the enormity that was earlier reported had actually taken place, and therefore I had to report it. I reported as I felt. So it was an honest report. The accusation, and that accusation has been made that no, I deliberately made that report on the orders of the government. That is not correct. I had gone there, although the governor had said don't go there. I said, no, I must go there. And the reason why I'd gone there is to ensure that if such a thing had happened, then persons who had done such a thing must be brought to book. But if such a thing had not happened, the people needed to be satisfied that it had not happened. And they were not satisfied, although there had been an investigation by the brigadier, and that investigation was defective. And I mentioned in my report as to why that was defective. So in all these circumstances, but as I said, my report was not a substitute for a regular criminal investigation.
Yeah.
There was a criminal report, there should have been a regular criminal investigation.
When the State Information Commission was formed in Jammu and Kashmir, people were almost sure that you would become the first information commissioner in Jammu and Kashmir. What happened?
No, I had in fact asked to be. I then submitted an application for my resignation to be considered by the President of India, so that I had a year left, because the age of the Information Commissioner is still the age of 65 in J&K and also in the Government of India. And that was the amended Right to Information Act of 2009. The original act was which had come even before the National Act, but that was a totally ineffective law. And with my advice and with the advice of other colleagues and of the CHRI, which I now head, we had given it inputs on which they had been able to actually revise the whole law, and a fresh law was passed in 2009. And I had offered to come and be the first Chief Information Commissioner, because I felt, and for the same reason which I mentioned to you, it is important, if one is going to address the Kashmir issue, the first thing one has to do is to be able to listen, to be able to hear. Then, and the Right to Information Act is an instrument to listen. You hear the people, you hear their complaints, and give them answers. So that is why I wanted to come there, because I thought that with my earlier experience in Kashmir and my experience with the Right to Information, my sense of responsibility to the Kashmiris meant that I must share my experience with the Kashmiris. So that basically was the aim. But then the Central Act actually rules, is the provision is that the Information Commission runs under a Chief Information Commissioner. The other Information Commissioners are only there to assist him. So if there's no Chief Information Commissioner, and this is how I was advised by the Law Ministry, if there's no Chief Information Commissioner, then the commission is actually defunct. I know that this has happened after me also, that there has not been a Chief Information Commissioner. Fortunately, that has not been challenged on those grounds. But if it were, it's anybody's guess as to what the court would rule. So the Law Ministry had advised that do not. Then I went to call on the Prime Minister, who was at that time Dr. Manmohan Singh, and he said that he felt I should stay on. Now, when the Prime Minister says that he feels I should stay on, then you don't say no.
Currently as well, do you see that the State Information Commission is almost lying defunct, with barely any members there? Why do you think that the state of Jammu and Kashmir is so non-serious about right to information?
I don't know about non-serious, because I do know that both Dr. Farooq Abdullah and Mehbooba Mufti have asserted their support. Begum Mehbooba Mufti more than, she doesn't like being called Begum, so Ms. Mehbooba Mufti more than Dr. Farooq has been very supportive of the Right to Information law. Unfortunately, the situation being so precarious, the law and order situation being so precarious, I feel that probably they have not given it the kind of attention which it deserves. But I would appeal to the governor, the present governor, and the chief secretary, Mr. Subramaniam, was principal was PPS to the Prime Minister when I was actually appointed as Chief Information Commissioner. So the importance of this law and the facilities which it provides to the people, and the necessity of this institution as a part of democratic governance is all very well known to your Chief Secretary. So you'll have to ask them why they're not giving the importance that it deserves.
But then you say that they are serious about right to information, and yet when the governor put J&K Bank under RTI, they both were against it. They had a negative stand. Why do you think that is?
Yes, I've seen your program on the J&K Bank. The J&K Bank is in every way part of the is an institution that comes firmly under the Right to Information Act. I can say now in those assertive terms, because I'm not going to be asked to rule on the subject. It is irresponsible of them to so say, and I believe the governor has in fact said so. But the J&K Bank is holding out. So the necessary rectification will have to be done both by the government of J&K and by the Reserve Bank of India.
Another important aspect to be talked about is the Jammu and Kashmir Public Service Commission. See, it is a discredited institution, and no matter how it functions, people always raise issues of nepotism, regionalism, that people of Jammu are fed up of JKPSc, people of Kashmir are fed up of JKPSc. Why is that?
That, I'm afraid, is institutions of that nature often suffer from that difficulty. That because they can't satisfy everyone, so everyone starts pointing a finger. That no, they are corrupt, no, they are partial. I have not investigated the matter, so I can't give you a view as to whether they are or whether they are not. I can only give you this view, which is that of a government official, that normally such accusations are not based on truth, but they are based on personal grievance.
Okay, Mr. Wajahat, now we've talked about Kashmir and we've talked about you. What are you up to currently? Are you writing a book?
Yes, I am writing. And I have been writing articles and things, and so that is the case. I am not able to ride horses, unfortunately, anymore, which is my favorite hobby, because I broke my leg in 2016. In fact, on the very day that Burhan Wani was shot dead, I fell off my horse and broke very badly. Had a compound fracture of my hip. So since then I haven't been allowed to ride anymore, which is a great loss, but I love going and sitting with horses. And otherwise I work with various NGOs and other things. My principal concerns at this time are, of course, I'm often asked here and abroad to come and talk. The RTI movement is now a worldwide movement, and so I often travel abroad also as head of CHRI to go and talk about the RTI. I've also been concerned with questions of human rights, and because I am head of this organization, and we have been focusing on these matters, which includes things like police reform and then the respect for human rights in the Commonwealth, like in Sri Lanka and in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in the African countries. So these are what, and then of course I have time to spend with my family, which is
you are quite
important.
active in work already. Do you get time to sit back and relax or paint, because that is also one of your favorite things?
Painting I haven't been able to get back to, unfortunately. Sketching, yes, but not painting. Yes, you are right, painting is one of my favorite hobbies. But reading I do a lot of. I can do a lot of reading now readily, because after my accident in Kashmir, my eyesight had gone wonky. I had a double vision. So I read, but it took me a long time to read. I read much faster now. And so I have been reading a lot. I have been therefore reviewing a lot of books in the book review, in Biblio, in newspapers. I write for the Hindu, I write for the Tribune, I write for the Indian Express. Little snippets sometimes, or longer articles.
What are you currently reading?
Currently, I have been reading this. I just finished reading Jairam Ramesh's Intertwined Lives, which is about Mr. Huxer, and I have been reading this very interesting book called Curse by Mr. Dogra on on Afghanistan.
Okay. That keeps you engaged.
Yeah.
Mr. Wajahat, before we end this, is there something that you would like to say to the youth of Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, to the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, I would only appeal that there are many avenues through which one can agitate, protest, and make one's and assert one's feelings and anger, if one has anger, within the constitutional framework of India. Ours is a totally democratic structure, even if those democratic norms are not being fully applied in J&K, and I have made the case in my book on Kashmir that one of the failings of governance in J&K has been that it has not been truly democratic always. So if that is the case, there are means of getting it rectified. The whole structure of governance is one that makes it rectifiable. For example, in Jammu and Kashmir, the successive governments of Jammu and Kashmir did not give to the panchayats and others the strength to function like institutions of self-government, which is what they are under the Constitution of India. But there were ways of demanding that. There were ways, even the electoral process of electing governments, which would ensure that the people enjoyed those rights. So my appeal to the youth of Jammu and Kashmir, who are among the most promising, I can say, with a great deal of confidence in our country, and the results of the All India Service examinations show that come, join us, join with the rest of India in building a new India, because the kind of opportunities that will open up for you, you will not get anywhere else. And that is the only way forward, in my view. We all work together, and if we are not working with you, if we are not reaching out to you, then demand it of us. Compel us to do that. And you have the instrumentalities of doing that. And the gun is not the instrument. The gun can only kill or get you killed. It cannot do anything more than that. The gun has no brain. You have a brain. Use it.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wajahat, for that intriguing conversation. That was all.